Welcome to Burn the Ship. This is the podcast where we connect entrepreneurs with professionals that help you go all in on your business. We talk to people that have walked the walk, talked the talk, been through all the things that we experience as small business owners, come out the other side more knowledgeable with more skills, more experience on how to successfully run a small business. So, thank you for coming. I want to say that first. Anybody that takes the time to share both with myself and the audience, it means a lot to us. So, thank you for that. Uh, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your business.
Yes, hi. Thanks for having me. My name is Kosta Ebanoidze, and I'm owner of Pinnacle Stone Restoration. We are located in Chicago area. So, what Pinnacle Stone Restoration does is primarily is refinishing work for marble and terrazzo surfaces, mainly floors, in commercial and residential application, pretty much. Summertime, it gets really commercial, and then during the winter and fall time is just we have more pretty much 50-50, but summertime is more dominated by commercial projects. So yeah, pretty much it. We have six guys working in our shop. We have large equipments. We try to chase and try to not to be shy away from the large projects. Pretty
Sure.
much that's what we do. um, we got to this point gradually. Of course, when we started, we weren't that way, but nowadays we are equipped and trained to go after big areas and then produce the high volume refinishing work.
Tell me a little bit about your story. I know we talked about it a little on the phone when we first spoke, but I think your story is very interesting. So tell me kind of how you got into doing what you're doing now, and kind of what that journey's been like of growing to your business to where you are.
Yeah, it's so I came from Republic of Georgia. It's a small country in Eastern Europe. And then when I got in this country, of course, like everybody else, start working. And my first job wasn't that interesting, but the second job was a granite fabrication shop. So there was the time in 2000s where the granite industry started booming, and there was a lot of companies opening up to produce the countertops, granite countertops for kitchens and bathrooms and several. So I joined one of the company in Virginia in DC area, and that's pretty much what everything started with my relationship with stone. So stone is a weird and it's a fascinating thing, right? The stone, it's just it really comes to the relationship with it. So that was my first kind of what interested me most is how to work with stone and what was stone about, right? So when you think about the stone, well, what comes to your head first is something heavy, something strong, something powerful, and you can do much about them, right? You need to be equipped, you need to be skilled to work with it. So that's kind of fascinated me, and said like, okay, well, this is quite interesting. So that journey started with the stone. So mainly I was doing fabrication work, but occasionally I was doing some repair works because stone breaks, cracks, chips. So I started doing, in the shop, little repair here, there, and then I kind of started liking it more and more. And after a couple of years of working like that, then I decided to go my own and start doing not the fabrication, but the repair work and restoration work. That's everything started from there. So it was interesting just because every project was so different. And there was a high demand on stone repair because there was a lot of stone installed in residential um, you know, houses, right? Like it's a funny thing. Like the United States wasn't very familiar with stone for many, many years until 2000s. Like the stone had the application more in a commercial, right? The buildings from outside, inside, and that was it. But the stone got into the homes in 2000s, and people had the wrong idea about it. They still have pretty much don't understand it, right? So they have wrong expectations from stone. They don't understand that it's a natural product and then it cannot dictate how they look. It's pretty much, it's by its own. So there was a lot of the missing puzzles where people didn't know what to do with the stone, how to repair them, how to maintain them, and several. And I found it as an opportunity, and then I start focusing on my skills. Of course, there was the first thing I start focusing on, like how I can make things disappear. For example, like there's a crack, how can I make it disappear? There's a chip, how can I fill it in so nobody can say that it's right there? You know what I mean? So that's you. I approach it more into the artistic way, how the artist would approach something, and then I found a passion in it. So that was my first steps, like going into stone repair work and understanding the inside out, how stone is formed and how you can really work with it. So then, of course, there was a little demand about, like people start calling me, and then of course there's not gonna be all the time same type of work. Suddenly something bigger came, like big floor, and I was saying, wow, that's interesting. So someone wanted me to polish stone, kind of, restore the surface of the marble floor. And it was quite a big area in a foyer in the house. And then I start scratching my head because I didn't want to kind of step away from it, to be honest with you, because, you know, it, I thought that it was like something that it would make me look bad. So I said, yeah, I can do this. Of course, I had some understanding of it, but, like I wasn't equipped as good, and I wasn't experienced, but somehow I managed to do this project, and it came out very, very nice. And that's how we started as a second step, kind of going into the floor business, like kind of going after floor restoration, refinishing marble, refinishing limestone, travertine, and different types of materials, producing different finishes like hone finishes, polish finishes, um, even texture finishes. So there was next step, and the third step was like when things got a little bigger, more commercial. And what interesting happened after that, it was commercial industry brought terrazzo into my work. So terrazzo became also something interesting because wow, there's a marble, it's a natural product. Look at terrazzo. What is terrazzo, right? Terrazzo is a it's a product. It's pretty much the mix of marble chips and then traditionally cement, and then nowadays it's a marble chips mixed with or marble aggregates mixed with epoxy, and that's how they formed as a terrazzo floors. And then they're everywhere. Terrazzo floors are in airports, hospitals, the pretty much in big buildings, arenas, and several. So another kind of addition to my industry was a terrazzo, and I kind of started liking it more than marble, to be honest with you, because I appreciate the craftsmanship behind it, and I appreciate the heritage. Because when you look at the terrazzo industry, you understand that someone cares and someone is behind the industry, like guys like terrazzo masters, right? They're originally those Italian guys that came, you know, as immigrants in this country a long time ago, and they brought the tile setting and the terrazzo industry in the United States because everything originated pretty much from Italy. So then I understood that what it takes to install terrazzo and how much work it takes to produce something beautiful like that, and then what happens after. What happens if there is a wear and tear? What happens when something happens to terrazzo and then it loses its original appearance? And not just original appearance, like can we make it a little better? And there was another thing that I started focusing on. It was the terrazzo floors, and which got me to this point. That's where we are. We're doing marble and terrazzo refinishing.
Sure. What has been, it seems to me from the outside looking in that your kind of ability to keep your hand on the heartbeat of your industry, like know when things are changing, know when new opportunities are presenting themselves, has put you in this position to be able to keep on growing, right? Keep on having these different iterations of your business. in your perspective, what's kind of been the superpower for you guys? Like, what is that thing that you've done the best, or the thing that separates you from your industry that's helped you grow the most?
Yeah, the first of all, the most is to you have to like what you do, and that's where everything starts. It's not about first thing is that. The second thing is like what's your expectations, right? When you start the business, and then how you grow your business. So if you grow your business with the ambition to just make money, that's yeah, you might get somewhere if you have passion in making money. But then you know I didn't find it as interesting. So what I found it interesting is to educate people, educate your clients, and then understand the culture. So why I think we are successful in this, because we understanding the culture, what's behind it, and we also identified wrong cultures. And I look at from that point. To me, like lately, the word culture is became something that I use a lot, because I understanding what it means. So there's a bad culture in the stone refinishing industry. It's called crystallization, for example. This is a product that's been used for many years by the janitorial companies, mainly when they crystallize instead of polishing it with the diamond pads and mechanical diamond refinishing process, they using the chemical like crystallization agent, who is like called like almost like a steroid for the stone. So that's a bad culture. And what it does to the stone, it makes it look like plastic. It's an easy way to polish something, but overall, it's the same thing. If you feed an athlete with the steroids all the time, you know that at some point it's gonna crash. Same thing happens to stone. If you feed them with a crystallization agent, not to use any other techniques, not to use diamond polishing or like grinding and honing process, the steps, then you just basically take all the living organisms from the stone. And at some point it becomes like a vinyl or it's plastic. So that was so that's what separates us from others, is that we try to bring this right culture in this industry and make sure that that it's been treated right. So because you as a someone who loves what he does, you have certain relationship with the material, right? And you understand where it come from. But think about stone, like where the stone come from, like come from these big rocks that they harvesting like quarries, and millions of people die in that industry. You know, a lot of people get injured, a lot of people die in this industry, and somehow it gets to our homes and to our buildings, and we start appreciating it. If you think about this, building, right, from as a interior, right, you look at the stone, it's all this product in the whole building. It's a billion years old. Somehow we step on them, we walk on them, and then we just don't take care of it. So it's a bad culture, right? So that's where I start paying attention on that part, like educate the clients and then kind of promote the right refinishing, process and right culture to it, which is diamond refinishing, like real, genuine, mechanical grinding, honing, polishing, creating friction, creating heat, and produce the high resolution reflectivities and durable floors and durable surfaces. So that's what separates us, and I'm trying to preach that through my business, and that's what basically is. It's preaching the right culture, and try to push that. And then if you if you get a little bit successful in it, like if you train your guys, some point they're gonna start doing their own business someday, right? And they can take that culture with them. And that's basically that's how you spread. This is one most organic way to spread the word, and then kind of try to push the right culture. So that's basically, to answer your question, this is my approach.
I think my industry is very similar. Um, my a lot of things there's continuing, both technology and expectation standards that continue to change in my industry, similar to yours, right? I think that there is a lot of companies that try to permeate my industry with cheap technology, um, technology that's not functional, or just these kind of gimmicky things that come and go, and they're kind of fad related, right? Um, and our industry suffers greatly from that culture of turnover as well, right? Is like a lot of times my industry is a stepping stone for somebody to get into or sell something else, or if there's not a lot of success in that first year, they roll over to another industry that's sales related. And I think that my company has been unique in that stance that our culture hasn't changed a whole lot. It's very client focused, right? It's very focused on the experience of your client and make sure that you do right by people. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was out of town on a Friday, and on a Friday afternoon at like 4 o'clock, one of the customer service people in my office took a terminal out, an hour away from our office, away from her house, to swap out a terminal on Friday afternoon for a bar that we have that as a client that needed to be able to run payments all night, right? And I didn't even know about that until I came back. So like I think that putting the focus back on the client and having some appreciation for your industry is really what develops that culture, and it's definitely contagious. Um, what are some of the obstacles that you've experienced? What were some of the speed bumps along the road? What should people look out for when they're in spaces similar to yours or your industry?
Yeah, there's a lot of obstacles there, but generally the story finishing is open field, and it's kind of there's not many competition. There are not many people around, so it kind of puts you in a right spot right away. You have certain advantage. People, if people find you, they already feel that they achieved something already very progressive because they found you, because it's very much there's a terminology problem. People don't have the right terminology to find us, right? They don't use the right words to find us. So that's one obstacle, like, oh, and then if they find us, then yeah, that's it. You don't want to get, let it go. So, but the obstacles is that when you go to the commercial buildings, hotels, and the airports, or like the big areas, they always try to save on floors. They better save. They don't mind to save on floors. So these floors are the last thing they want to care for. So that's the thing. Sometimes you feel like, like, you find the stone that needs your help. You almost like feel like, man, I would do this even for free. Just let me do it, just because I how much this stone can look great if you've been not taking care of it, and you're using wax, you using coatings on it, making worse, and then they don't understand that part, and they don't care about it. So that's one of the you know biggest obstacles when it comes to it.
Yeah, trying to get people to really understand the value of your craft, right? I think a
Yeah,
lot of times the way that you speak about it matters too. You know what I mean?
yeah.
The way that you talk about it is huge. Having that conviction as a new entrepreneur is super important.
That's why I created just when I found that there was a problem of communication, and finding right words and right terminology, I decided to create the YouTube channel, and that became almost like my platform, my station, where I could start talking to people and explaining. And I put like a lot of good videos there. Like it was created 2 years ago. We have over 100 videos there, interesting ones, very educational ones, step by step. So that in order for me to solve the problem, like the communication problem, I decided to create that YouTube channel. And I gotta tell you, this changed a lot in a very positive way.
How do people find you if they want to buy something from you? If they have questions, they want to pick your brain as an entrepreneur. Where do people go to reach out to you?
It's a word of mouth, to be honest with you, in my case, because I came out from the stone industry. So as I start doing my business, I already knew people. And
Sure.
then I never try to advertise my company through like internet and Google and all that stuff. It was more word of mouth, rather relationship. Chicago is the way it is. Like, if you have relationship with people and then with companies, they always try to, you know, feed you with work, and you do the same for them. So it's all about word of mouth, people just knowing me, like, and that's a main source of my business. And then second, of course, I'm in a Google, and people find me through that, and then website that's pretty much comes with it. But then YouTube started helping a lot as well. So it's a different areas that where I get the job from, and pretty much word of mouth, people knowing me, and then also the YouTube and internet.
Sure. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Like I said, your time is very important to us.
Yeah,
You're in a
that's
very
what I do.
unique industry. There's not a lot of people that do the same things as you. And I think that if you could take anything away from this podcast on a super high level, it's no matter how specific your craft may be, there is a way to educate your audience that you can do inexpensively and effectively. You can learn how to speak about your business, and there will be things that change in your industry that you need to keep up with that can give you a serious competitive advantage. And I think you and your
Well,
company embodies all of those things very well. So I appreciate your time. Kind of the way that we always end the podcast. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I appreciate as well to giving me opportunity to speak, and say a few things about my company. I appreciate the time and everything.
Yeah, always. Kind of the way that we always end the podcast here is answering this question, right? Is just about the kind of the title of the podcast. Um, Going all in on your business and burning the ship and committing to being an entrepreneur carries its own challenges, but I also think it carries its own very unique sense of gratitude and fulfillment. And the people that you're talking to or in the audience are people that are either within probably that first year of business or on the verge of starting their own business and wondering how to feel prepared to be a business owner, and what is it that needs to happen that makes them feel like they really do have things under control. And so I pose that question to you as, what is it like to burn the ship? What is it like to make that decision of being an entrepreneur and going out on your own and experiencing those things that are so difficult? And why should the people that are listening seek that experience out?
Yeah, it takes a quite commitment to make that step. It's not easy, because usually you're surrounded by people, and then first thing you do, if you have an idea to go your own, you share that idea with others. And most of the time people give you 50-50, right? Someone's gonna say, hey, yeah, you should do that. But I would say not 50-50. Most of them are gonna say, hey, you gotta be careful, the stories, and all this, you know it's not that easy to make, it's not the right time to start, and all that stuff. So it's just, you gotta believe it what you do, and you have to be very consistent about it. So people don't have that. To make that first step, it's hard. And you need the support. Now, you cannot be just by yourself. You need support from your family. You want support from your friends too. Just not anything financial. More like, like, hey, yeah, you can do it. You should do it, and things like that. So that's big part. But yeah, it's just takes a brave step forward.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
it absolutely does. And there are people out there that want to help you. My organization, people like yourself that are putting information about your industry and your experience on YouTube. I mean, there's so many people out there that are participating in the dissemination of information about how to be successful as a small business owner. So if you have questions for myself, you can always reach me.
mhm.
And most of our guests are also those people that are willing to weigh in on their experience and share the things that they've gone through. So that means a lot to us. So I appreciate you coming. Your time, like I said, it means a lot to us. Your story's awesome. And I wish you a lot of success. Hopefully we can do this again in the future, and maybe we'll be talking about step 4. You've added another dimension, more employees, and gotten bigger and continued to grow. And I wish all those things for you, my friend.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate again your time, and I really enjoyed this podcast. And this is my first podcast, and I really liked it. Let's do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do it again soon. I appreciate it, my friend.
Of course, me too. Bye.